Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wahyu Heni Sapardi and I am from Brawijaya University. Today I want to presentation about my research study. Title is Adaptive Reuse for Sustainable City in Java, Indonesia. The content of this research is introduction, sustainable on adaptive reuse, issue, material and method, result, discussion, summary, and conclusion. Now is number 1, introduction. Adaptive reuse is proposed as a sustainability solution through the use of old building construction that cannot be used anymore and have unfavorable condition through construction engineering. This paper presents a systematic literature review on the study of adaptive reuse of historical buildings and community introduction to adaptive reuse of historic buildings on the island of Java. By referring to several theories, we can conclude that the relationship between old buildings and the sustainability of the city is supported by the public's perception to historical buildings, by having a sense of pride in belonging. What about sustainable on adaptive reuse? This is number 11 of goals of Sustainable Development Goals is sustainable cities and communities. Making cities sustainable means creating career and business opportunities, safe and affordable housing, and building resilient societies and economies. It involves investment in public transport, creating green public space, and improving urban planning and management in participatory and inclusive way. The source is from UNDP. And what about the issue? How do we can involve too many cities in participatory and inclusive ways to make it sustainable cities? We can show in this picture about Jakarta, West Java, Central Java, and East Java. This is a historical building that cannot use anymore, and this is abandoned in this area. Number 3 is material and method. This place is a sugar factory in Solo, is Adi Sumarmo location, and the name is the Colomadu. Before the condition is abandoned, and the BUMN in Indonesia making restoration of this place become the right. What about the sustainable city and the adaptive reuse decision making? This is the presentation of research Bullen and Love from Curtin University, Australian. This is the triangle of sustainability, environment, economic, social, sustainability, environment, economic, social, and the adaptive reuse decision making. We can see in the left side is capital investment is conclude on aesthetic finance, occupied demand, marketability, tax concession, corporate image, market trends, and the left side, and then the right side is asset condition is location, residual service life, internal layout, structural integrity, usability, functionality, space, and the bottom is regulation. It's about government legislation, building code, planning requirement, OHS, and heritage. And the triangle is make the adaptive reuse of decision making. On the right side is a table about the research from 20 years ago. It's about adaptive reuse of capital investment, asset condition, and the regulation. And I try to make it read on the years of the forecast years of the research on a 40 journal on this adaptive reuse, and I conclude in the graphic like the bottom. As we know, I make this research is in Java Islands because the Java Islands is one of the big city, a lot of historical building over there that abandoned and it needs improvement and revitalization. And I choose the cities of Jakarta, Bandung, Semarang, Surakarta, Malang, and Surabaya. And this is the sample of 7 building. And the first is in Jakarta, is Museum Fathahillah. Number 2 is Batavia Cafe. Number 3 is the Drigler in Bandung. Number 4 is Pasar Johar Semarang. Number 5 is the Colomadu. Number 6 is Hotel Majapahit. Number 7 is Heritage Malang, Kayu Tangan. This is how the preservation of the building become a regulation in Indonesia. First, we conclude the surgery of the historical building, and then there's a construction implementation steps can be improvisation, inclusive city management by maintaining the existence of this old building. It is hoped that the sustainability of the city will be achieved properly. Java Island is the one of the islands in Indonesia which has several cities with old building in it. The existence of this old building has from the colonial era. Some are result of colonial development, and the rest are local community buildings that are preserved by the community as the owner of the building. This is the framework sustainability construction on by CIB task in illustration courtesy of Bill Stanley. Number 1 is reduce, number 2 is reuse, number 3 is recycle, number 4 is protect nature, number 5 is eliminate toxic, number 6 is life cycle costing, and then number 7 is quality. How we can improve the quality of the base of principle and resource. This is beginning is from the planning, development, design, construction, use and operation, maintenance, modification, and deconstruction, land material, water, energy, and ecosystems. This is 4 parts of respondent measurement that I do on my research. Number 1 is an attractive front view as a category on the questionnaire of the building with windows and doors leading to the front. Number 2 is study building structure. Number 3 is construction of buildings with the right building materials. Number 4 is contrasting building colors. Number 2, study building structure. Number 3 is construction of buildings with the right building material. Number 4 is contrasting building colors. This is the result of my research. Is in part 1 of our research instruments. We include question about personal data, a total of 100 data which were taken randomly from several area on the islands of Java, and the result were 51.5% were male respondents and 48.5% were female respondents. Of these respondents, 40.8% were aged on 36 and until 50 years, and 26.2% were respondents aged 15 to 25 years, and 18.4% were respondents aged more than 50 years, and the remaining 14.6% were respondents aged of 36 to 40 years. Number 1 is look of historic buildings after renovation. Number 2 is what is the condition of the building according to your experience. And number 3 is how many historical buildings do you know in Java Islands. Number 4 is where is the location of the most historic buildings on the islands of Java according to your experience. This is a name of building, and then the criteria of the questionnaire and the coding of that of the data. So I can put the number of this coding into Excel, and then we move it into SPSS to do the next conclusion. Name of building is Museum Fathahillah, Cafe Batavia, the Drickler, the Colomadu, Johar Market, Majapahit Hotel, and Kayu Tangan. The 7 building criteria. Number 1 is building facade. Number 2 is building structure. Number 3 is construction and building material. Number 4 is building color, and then others answer. And after I move the data into SPSS, I try to find correlation and case the processing summary as reliabilities and test, and the figures show the result of the validity and reliability test on the SPSS application. The result of the significant number on the validity test were obtained on the 4 questions on the research instrument, getting result about 0.01, which means valid. In the reliability test result, obtained Cronbach alpha result of more than 0.7, so that the results are valid. The research instrument can be retest with the same mechanism in future research. Number 6, discussion. What is perception people about old building? This is the discussion of my research. The age of the questionnaire answer is 36 until 50. Is traveling in Java Islands 4 times a month before pandemic COVID-19, and building among others, and they only know less than 100 buildings, and the building based on facade, structure, and construction. Number 7, summary and conclusion. Adaptive reuse is one of the answers to the sustainability of cities in Indonesia, a country with a number of historic buildings that require maintenance and utilization for the sustainability of the city. By maintaining of old buildings and using them with new function can reduce some of the emission due urban development that continues to grow. To be able to maintain the existence of old buildings requires people who care and know the benefit of their existence by giving some basic question regarding the introduction of historic buildings and their use after restoration. In this case, the community is expect to provide input regarding several historical buildings in the surrounding area and around the island of Java. The result of these research instruments are expected to provide opportunity for us to be able to conduct further research on adaptive reuse of old buildings, and the result obtained are expected to be useful for the development of science. And this is the preference or the reference of my research is about 12 data reference. Sorry. Okay, this is my mailing address, my email address, and my phone number in case of there's any question, consultation, and other concerns about my research. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.